We are ready, yes.
Okay. Okay, we're I Like Trains. This is our video blog. We're going to answer some questions that you've asked us. We're at the Brudenell Social Club, in case you're wondering. I will be question master. We'll be putting these questions to everyone.
Do we get points?
I will be attempting to award points for your answers. The first question is from Paranoid Android, and he says, "Ooh, is this album going to follow a set theme like Elegies did? And if not, is there a noticeable difference in the process of making the album to when you were making Elegies?" That's really a question for me, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Do you want me to ask you it?
No, it'll be fine. I heard it the first time I asked. There is a set theme. It's probably not as concrete as the theme for Elegies was. I've allowed a little bit more artistic freedom. I'm not entirely sure how much to say about what the record's about, because I'd like people to sort of make their own theories as to what it is. There'll be sort of some clues along the way. It makes it sound very cryptic, doesn't it? Which is probably the idea. And is there a noticeable difference in the process of making the album to when we were making Elegies? I think yes. I think we
Is that enough to say yes?
I think we maybe have to elaborate on that.
Well, I'll just butt in here.
Yeah,
if that's
no
okay.
problem.
I mean, the big difference between the writing process for Elegies and for the new album was the time we had to do it in. When we were making Elegies, it was all we were doing, whereas with this album we've been squeezing it in between working
Yes,
and real life.
which kind of relates to a question further down.
Oh, does it?
We'll
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But also, I think we wanted to leave avenues open to explore in the studio. We never finished writing the songs.
Whereas Elegies, it was all
I think you should
set
get
in
closer to the
stone.
mic.
So I don't want to block Alistair's view, you
Oh,
see.
that's all right. I'll move around.
I think with Elegies, all the songs were sort of set in stone, and we'd pretty much toured all of them quite a lot, I think. And so, yeah, when it came to the actual recording, it was just a case of getting it down. Whereas this album has been a bit more of like, how should we go about recording this song?
Which has been nice.
Yeah,
keeping
nice
it,
change.
A lot more exciting.
keeping ourselves on our toes. Okay, question 2. This one's for Alistair. What is your favourite biscuit? And I think she wants you to answer that through the medium of a short filmed mime.
Okay, I have been practicing this.
You said you hadn't.
I haven't really, but I have been thinking about it. My favourite biscuit, which probably isn't representative of the band as a whole, goes something like this.
Okay.
I
Question 3.
thoroughly.
She didn't ask us to clarify what that was. So.
I can,
You have to work that one out.
Okay.
you have to know me a bit, I think, to really.
Yeah.
But hey,
Alice only likes one biscuit.
I'm just going to say I like chocolate covered hobnobs
Yeah, it's my favourite.
as a band.
I
With,
think they're like the staple biscuit, aren't they, for us?
yeah.
not my favourite though. That's
Answer
the
the
everyday
question.
workhorse biscuit.
Question 3 from Blackout. When will you be playing a gig in Luxembourg or on the Isle of Man?
Well, we have
Luxembourg.
played in Luxembourg in the winter.
Only about 8 people will know that we played in Luxembourg because that's the number of people that were there.
We played with that jazz band, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the crazy percussion things, and we left a piece of equipment and had to get it shipped back for a ridiculously large amount of money.
The Isle of
That's
Man?
it.
Isle of Man sounds good. I want to
Yeah.
go there. I've never been.
No?
I've
So-
never been.
If there's any promoters who
My
work in
grand's
the Isle
been.
of Man, get in touch.
Make it
I think
happen.
there's a few people
Facilitate.
wanting us.
In the Isle of Man?
Yeah, Simon.
Oh, there wasn't. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Proper question, as if that wasn't. Has the fact that you are no longer signed to a large label had significant effect on the way this album has come together in comparison to the previous one?
It's been slower.
It has been slower. And, I think that's the big difference. We haven't really sacrificed on sound quality
Yeah.
or anything.
We've taken our time.
I think we
Hasn't got it
waited
right.
until we were really happy with the guts of all the songs before we went to record, as opposed to having a definite schedule of we have to record in this time slot sort of thing. So yeah, it's a big difference.
Well, we didn't have any pressure or a release date or anything to follow, so
Yeah, so it's definitely it's got its upsides.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yes. Lean meat again. This is a long question. Things like blogs/videos, Twitter and forums give bands the opportunity to interact with their fans in ways not possible in previous generations. Is this something you feel comfortable with as a band, or is it something you feel obliged to do that everyone else is doing it? Personally, I enjoy all the updates and interactions, but sometimes wonder if it's just another pound of flesh that fans are determined to extract, and an additional burden that the band feels obliged to live up to.
God, it's such a chore, isn't it?
We are only doing this because we feel obliged to do it.
Yes. I think I've been thinking about this, and it's quite an interesting question. I think that it's something that initially didn't come very naturally to us, probably.
Yeah.
But it's something that we're getting better at and it's becoming more enjoyable.
But we've always liked to interact with fans, like after shows and things. It's like, we've always been quite into having a real persona outside the stage persona. I think that comes up later as well. But
yeah.
It's obviously separate, but it's good to open yourself up a bit.
No, it is.
And the internet allows you to...
But are we opening ourselves up too much?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Is that the
Maybe
question?
That's the question later on,
That's
isn't
later on, yes.
Oh.
Let's not jump the gun.
Who knows?
Yeah. So in a word, yes, and also no.
I still find Twitter pretty strange.
Yes. I haven't quite worked out the point of it yet.
But it used to be that, like, you know, if you were really into a band and they were kind of untouchable, they were on the stage, and you'd never really reasonably ever imagine talking to them or meeting them or having any kind of dialogue with them. Whereas now you sort of expect it almost, and I think it makes people in bands kind of like less famous, and they're more, you know, people. Like people.
Yeah.
And I think that's
But
it's kind of nice in a way.
that-
Not saying that we're famous, but
No,
for
but
other people.
I think that the people who are more new to coming to gigs are going to be more awestruck by the whole thing and less likely to approach the band, whereas the people who've been going to gigs for a long time, who've been to a lot of gigs, I'm not saying anything about anyone's age, sorry, but they're going to be much more likely to want to get to that next
level. What is it that you're trying to say?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
It's a matter of when you're young and naive, you don't want to approach the bands because you want to keep it that way. But you would be too scared. This is talking from my own experience. I'd be far too scared to approach a band.
But that's been taken out with technology.
I don't know if it has, because
barrier.
I don't know that the younger,
the
new generation.
They know how to use computers.
Not in my day, they didn't.
Well, you know.
But no, I'm not.
We're talking about our day.
I'm not talking about the use of computers. I mean, on computers it's different, but just approaching bands, or even emailing bands. To be honest, I mean,
I'd never email a band.
No.
When I was younger.
no.
Okay.
I'd try and meet
Yeah.
them after
I mean,
a show.
it seems to be quite a continental thing as well. A lot of, and well, just not British thing, where people. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore.
No, I've been trying to stop you for ages.
Have you?